opens up the box and plays the game. He never reads instructions cause they're lame. He's Bowser. He plays the game so badly, his eyes are twitching madly. He's here again so sadly. He's Bowser.
Hello there, welcome back. Right, as you can see, Nifty Lifty is the game playing today. The first BBC Micro against ZX Spectrum conversion, and the reason I'm playing it is that those of you that may remember, last year I was the beneficiary of some wonderful generosity from Brian Dickinson. He's a lovely bloke. He sent me a load of Spectrum games, which were Curry's pack-ins that you would have got if you'd have bought your Spectrum Plus 2 back in the day from Curry's. There was about a dozen of them, and one of them was Nifty Lifty. And it was released by Visions software in like 1984 or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, I haven't done that much research on it. But I loaded it up and gave it a play and thought it was an absolutely brilliant, fun little sort of arcade style game. It really, really is fun, and it's one of the few games that I actually keep coming back to, and you know, I really, really, really enjoy it. I was so surprised. It's an absolute gem of a game, and if you've never played it, I strongly suggest you hunt it down and do so, because you will enjoy yourself. Now, other thanks that I need to do, I'm able to do this now. In previous videos about the BBC, I said that it came with the Turbo MMC card thing, but some of the files on one of the cards that contained the main sort of files was corrupt. Now, I know absolutely nothing about this machine, how to get things going, etc. It's all been through the generosity of and the helpfulness of people on various groups, etc., that helped me get going, and on YouTube, etc. And one particular YouTuber, OldSkoolCoder, came to the rescue, basically, with advice on how to replace the files on the SD card to get them going. And I followed his instructions to the letter, and even I managed to do it. So if I can do it, you can do it. So most of the files, well, there's one or two that are still sort of broken, but the majority of them all work now, including Nifty Lifty, and that was one of the games that, you know, didn't exist on the card. It existed in the file menu, but not on the card itself. So thank you, OldSkoolCoder. Thank you, Brian, for introducing me to the game in the first place. Now, a word of warning. I've mentioned before that the internal speaker on the BBC Micro is really, really loud. I don't know if there's a way of turning it down. Some games have the option. Only one game I've seen so far has the option to reduce volume using the function keys, and that was Kane, the Mastertronic game. But the majority of them don't, and it gets really, really loud. And Nifty Lifty, the BBC version, which you're going to see first, is really, really loud. And I'm fortunate that it's a game you can play one-handed, because there's only two keys, Z, X for left and right. So I spend most of my time with my hand resting atop the speaker, just to make things a little bit less loud. But anyway, you'll see that in just a second when I demonstrate it to you. Right, okay, let's get into it. Nifty Lifty on the BBC Micro. Hello, welcome back. Right, here we are. I'm going to go into the the MMC card thingy menu, and let's get Nifty Lifty going. Right, so what I've got to do is that, and then type boot, and that brings me up the list of everything. And I know it's on page 40, so I just type 40 in, and there we go. Second game down. Oh, no, I've pressed the wrong one. No, I haven't. Come on, Baz. Right, so here we go. Nifty Lifty for the BBC Micro. Now, see what it says there? Do I want sound, yes or no? Right, on this, I'm going to put yes, and then I'll show you what it's like without the sound. Swig of coffee. Right, let's go. So, yes. Now, listen to how loud that is. and that's about 2 feet away from your face. Right, so I'm gonna try playing this. Now you're gonna struggle to hear me. Ready, steady, go. See, now I've got my hand now over the speaker. Unfortunately, you can play Nifty Lifty with one hand because there's only the 2 controls. And the aim of it is you are in a department store and you've got to traverse your way from one floor all the way up to the top, going from left to right and alternating whilst avoiding the lifts. Now, once you press left or right, you start going, you don't stop. So you've got to commit yourself, and on further screens you get more and more lifts, and they are the only obstacles. But the game is so much fun. It's just so loud. You know, I've got my hand pressed down over the speaker there. Now, if anyone knows of a way, if there's a command you can press to reduce the volume, then please let me know it. Oh dear. Because at times, after about 5 minutes sat in front of the BBC watching the game going, you feel your teeth start to rattle. It's really, really loud. Now, graphics-wise, I love the look of Nifty Lifty on the BBC Micro, and if the volume was a bit lower, the way it sounds too, because to me it looks and sounds like an old arcade game. And I've made this point before about BBC Micro games. They do have a kind of arcadey look and feel to them, and I think that's brilliant. But if you know this game at all, either version that you're going to see, then please let me know. Now, that's game over. That was shit. That was only the second screen. Now, it is fun, but like I say, that the volume level is really sort of quite a major issue for me. If you're going to play it, I suggest, you know, not many of you, well, however many of you own the BBC Micro, or a BBC Micro, that you'd probably want to play this through like the BBEM emulator instead, where you could at least risk not waking up the neighbourhood if you wanted to play it sort of after 9 o'clock at night. Oh, see what I mean? You sort of commit yourself. Once you press the button, he goes. And there's more and more lifts coming, as you can see. And like I said, the Spectrum version is one that I come back to repeatedly. I really, really am enjoying this this game. It really is great fun, and what a little find. And you know, thanks ever so much again, Brian. I know I thanked you at the time, but you know, I can't say sort of enough how sort of addictive this game is. Oh, I'm gonna die. Oh, sorry, you can, yeah, you don't commit yourself. You can sort of go back if you've stuffed it up. Now, you can see, you know, there is a bonus ticker on the right-hand side, sort of ticking down. And it's supposed to be that as you get further up the screen, you should be sort of like a little bit safer once you've learnt the sort of the pattern that the elevator's going, he says, and then gets squashed by one. Look, I'm just going to take my hand off the speaker again. That is amazingly loud. Now, there is an option I'm going to show you. You can play the game with the volume down. There is an option, so let's try that again. Let's go to page 40. And here we go, the loading screen. Now I'm going to play it without sound now. And unfortunately, by selecting this option, there's no sound at all. So you go from having a sort of wall of sound, if you like, to complete silence, as if you're playing the game in a vacuum. And it really does detract from the enjoyment of the game, because that is a really, really nice arcade style soundtrack that's going on. Anyway, you can see whoa, stay still, Mr. Nifty Bloke. You can see what the game is. You can see what it's like. There's not an awful lot to say about it, despite me making this bit go on forever and ever and ever, as per usual. I really, really enjoy this game. It's simple, it's fun, it's addictive, it's got great graphics, it's really colourful. Right, we're going to go onto the Spectrum version now, so you can see the difference between the two. I don't know if it came out on any other systems. I can't tell you. Right, see you in a sec. Hello, welcome back. Right, as you can see now, I am at the Spectrum version of Nifty Lifty, which you can see was coded by KJ Besant in 1984. Now, it does have a tune going on, but the beauty of this is as the +2's sound is coming out of the TV, I can turn it down a bit. So, let's go and look at what the similarities and differences between the two versions are. So, see for control options. So, ZX left and right again. But you can redefine them, but one will do, sorry, Z and X for left and right will do. So, okay, you can also control the speed here, 0 to 9. I will show you what it's like on 9 after I've had a quick go on this. Now, sorry, show you what it's like on 0 because that's the fastest speed. So I'm going to go for something sort of middling. So because I'm a complete coward, I'll go for 6, speed number 6. Okay, so you can see there is a difference already in graphical style. This is very much looking like a ZX Spectrum game. And it doesn't move as quickly as the BBC version. Giant knob there, look. Oops, doesn't move as quickly as the BBC version. But it's still a great, great game. And there's more items there seem to be to collect. And you've got a kind of little sort of chuggy sound as your geezer walks along. Now, like I said before, I didn't know this game. Oh, I didn't know this game at all until it arrived in a bundle of tapes that the wonderful Mr. Dickinson sent me. Thank you very much, Brian. What is called Brian? Oh dear. And I have. It's one of a few games that I keep revisiting. I'm no good at it, but I just really, really enjoy it. It's a good laugh. It's good fun. Ah, I'm dead. And things really do ramp up as the levels go on. Now, if you've never ever played Nifty Lifty, go and hunt it down. I've said before, this is what the beauty of the Spectrum scene is that there's always something you haven't played. And this was one of them. And, you know, I can speak with a fair degree of experience of Spectrum games, but obviously no one knows every single one. And this is one that just sort of took me completely by surprise. That'll do. 3 kisses. I've got the top score already, blimey. Right, so let's have one more quick go of Nifty Lifty. So we'll go level 5 this time. We'll go a little bit quicker. So whereas the BBC's got some, you know, wonderful, chunky, blocky, colourful graphics, the Spectrum's a lot cleaner. Oh dear. And more sort of pleasant on the eye. I don't know. I do like the way that the BBC version presents, but this is just so much fun. And I'm playing it with one hand. What am I doing with the other one? Wouldn't you like to know, you dirty bastards? No, nothing horrifying, don't worry. Right, coming in. So I was first aware of the BBC version existing when I first got these tapes, and I just had a look on YouTube to see what the game was like, and there was a comparison video from quite a while back, if I recall rightly, a few years even, where it put the pair of them together, and they are quite different, whilst also being quite similar, if that makes any sense, you know. probably doesn't, but it's me. I usually talk bollocks. But here we go. There's more sort of variety in the items you have to collect on the Spectrum version. But it's just a really sort of simple concept. Oh! It sounded like Gary Neville when Torres scored against Barcelona there, didn't it? Oh! Yeah, the sort of simplest designs are often the best. And this is a great sort of illustration of that. So, oh, right. What I'm going to do, you can see what the premise of the game is. It gets more and more progressively difficult as you go through the levels. I'm just going to waste my lives down here, and then we're going to have a go at it on the super quick speed. Right, game over. Yes, we know. XXX again. Right. Come on. Right, so we're going to be brave. This is like committing harikiri. Oh. And this is really fun as well. But, oh, I warn you, I can get hardly anywhere on this. I don't even know how many screens there are on Nifty Lifty. So if any of you know, then by all means shout out about it. Speaking of shout-outs, I want to congratulate realgenericdemon on his recent purchase of a BBC Micro, which he is laying the blame squarely at my door. So I'm expecting his wife to come and brain me with it and chop me into little pieces. He's just picked one up. He's got a YouTube channel as well, which I will link to below. Please go and check him out because he's got some great stuff on there. ZX Spectrum, lots of systems, and he's just picked up the DDI3 USB doodah thingamy emulator, what's it, magician-y thing, for the Amstrad, which I've got one coming soon as well, which will finally mean I'll be able to do comparisons across 4 systems. And I'm really looking forward to it. Now, I actually thought Level 0 would be quicker than this, but it's not. It's a really, really enjoyable game. I strongly urge you to go and check that out. The differences between the two, like I said, the what? What am I talking about? The Spectrum version is nice and colourful. It's got really, really nice music going on there, as you can sort of hear. But you can turn it down through the telly. It's nice and clean. The BBC is quite blocky, but really, really colourful. Like I say, it looks and sounds like an arcade game. The only drawback with it is the fact that it is so damn loud. And, you know, if you were listening to it on the train, this video on the train with your earphones in, you know, it's probably fried part of your brain. But anyway, yeah, so thanks to Brian Dickinson for introducing me to this game. Thanks to OldSkoolCoder for helping me reformat the SD card that I used on the BBC Micro, because I wouldn't have had a clue how to do it myself. And also go and check realgenericdemon's channel out. I'm sure there's going to be a plethora of BBC and Amstrad stuff to follow on his channel. It's going to be really interesting to see. Okay, thanks ever so much for watching. If you like the video, please let me know, despite it having gone on for hours and me droning for ages. If you wish to subscribe, please do so. But if you do subscribe, please, please, please take the time to join in the discussion, because that's what it's all about. Okay, thanks ever so much for watching. Take care. Goodbye.